Many are the horror stories from history, and one of the most famous tales set in the United Kingdom is the story of the infamous serial killer in London. This story has raised numerous questions, especially during earlier times. The tale revolves around Jack the Ripper, a notorious serial killer who terrorized London in 1888. The police of that era struggled to apprehend this merciless murderer, making Jack the Ripper an enduring historical enigma that continues to captivate people to this day. The events of this chilling story took place between August 7th and September 10th, 1888, when 5 young women were brutally murdered in the Whitechapel area. The killer didn't stop at the act of murder. He mutilated the bodies of his victims with a level of anatomical knowledge that astonished the police. Despite their best efforts, law enforcement at the time failed to identify and capture the elusive killer. Throughout those 3 harrowing months in 1888, fear and terror gripped the streets of East End London. The serial killer earned the infamous moniker Jack the Ripper for his gruesome murders and mutilations. Some even claim that the actual number of his victims might be higher, reaching up to 11. The victims of Jack the Ripper endured horrific fates. One of the earliest victims was Mary Ann Nichols, a 42-year-old woman whose lifeless body was found on Bucks Row, now Durward Street. Her throat was slashed, and her abdomen was viciously mutilated. Annie Chapman, another victim, was a 47-year-old woman who had been working as a prostitute. Her lifeless body was discovered in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street, with her throat almost severed and her abdomen gruesomely ripped open. Jack the Ripper seemed to taunt the police with a series of mocking letters, heightening the sense of chaos and paranoia in London. The hysteria reached its peak when on September 30th, Jack the Ripper killed 2 women within minutes. The first was Elizabeth Stride, whose lifeless body was found in Berner Street, and then Catherine Eddowes, a 43-year-old woman whose body was discovered in Mitre Square. Both victims suffered brutal mutilations, and it seemed that Jack the Ripper had a deep knowledge of anatomy as he removed organs from their bodies. Amid the growing madness, various rumors circulated about the identity of the killer, ranging from him being a mad doctor to a deranged Polish immigrant, or even a Russian nobleman. However, Jack the Ripper remained elusive, and despite the best efforts of the police, the murders suddenly stopped after the 5th victim, Mary Jane Kelly, was killed on November 9th. The mystery of Jack the Ripper, England's unidentified serial killer, remains one of history's most perplexing unsolved cases, captivating the imagination of people to this day.